You're listening to Her Money, Her Business, a podcast for women starting or growing their own business. And it features episodes about knowing your finances, improving your money confidence, and growing a profitable business that's built to last. If you wish you were good with money, want to feel more confident managing your money, or want to struggle less while making money, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Sonia Belzarolo, business financials coach, bookkeeper, and champion for women who want to be the master of their own financials. So let's get started. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 32, and we are talking today about the 7 Back to Basics business foundations. So this week on social media and in my newsletter, Money News, I've been talking each day about the 7 days of Back to Basics. So it's a series I created so that I could share with small businesses the very basics of business foundations that you should have in place. And if you don't have them in place, I've given you some small steps to get started. I know it can be overwhelming. There's a lot to do in business already without adding things on top of that. But really having these foundations in place is actually going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you feel more confident in your business, that you've got things in place, that you can bring staff on, that you're creating a long-term sustainable business, and also that you're not going to burn yourself out. These things are all there as foundations to help you. So what I wanted to do today on the podcast is run through those. So if you haven't been following along on social media, or if you've missed a couple of days, then I'm going to talk through each of those 7 basics foundations to really just give you the fundamentals to go ahead and do these and have a look at which of them you have in place already and which perhaps you don't. And you could start looking at implementing them in small steps. Okay, so on day 1, the basic that I talked about is admin and operations. So if you're someone who constantly finds they're having to spend minutes or sometimes even hours looking for a document, you know you've got it somewhere, it's on your drive somewhere, but you really just can't remember where you put it. And these might be things that you're looking for constantly. So what is my ABN? What membership do I have? When did it start? When does it expire? When do I need to renew it? What is my business registration? What insurance do I have? If you have to claim on insurance, how do you find your most current insurance to be able to ring and do that? All of those basics of business really should be just all in the one spot. So today, that is my simple action step. As a woman in business, you don't have minutes and hours to spare. You've got a lot of important things that you want to get on with in your business that are going to help you make sales and make money. And so things like looking for documents is really just something you can set up once, and then it's there and you don't need to worry about it. So that's why I have admin and operations as the first business basic. Each year as things come through your business, if, for example, you've got yearly insurances, then you just stick it in the same folder and you know exactly where to get it, and there's no brain power involved there. You've taken that away from the 100 million things you already have to think about and remember. It's all in a folder. So what I'm suggesting as the simple action steps in order to help you organize your admin and operations for your business would be to sit down, and if you don't already have this in place, create a folder on your chosen drive. So whether you're using G Drive, OneDrive, any of those types of drives, even if it's on a portable disk, that's where you put everything. In there, create a folder called administration or admin. Under that folder, I want you to then make some folders for the different things that you need to store for your business that are easy to recognize. If you came back in 2 months' time to go looking for something, you can easily see that by the name of the folder. So whether that's registration, business registration, memberships, licenses, insurances, business information. So I have a business information sheet for my business, and I suggest it for any business I work with. And that's got all the important stuff on there. So, for example, it will have ABN, it will have the business registration address, it will have the phone numbers people can call, the different email addresses if there's more than one that you're using, your website address, your links for Instagram, Facebook, etc. So all of that's just in one simple business information document. Now, it might sound like things that you're not going to go and regularly look for, but if you bring a staff member on, That's all there in one sheet. You don't have to write it out. You don't have to create a document for them. So I would also have a folder called business information, and that's all that's in there as an example. So once you've set up those folders, copy or move everything over into those folders that are relevant, and you're done. That's it. That's as difficult as it needs to be, and it's done. Now, it might sound basic, and I'm going to say this a number of times, and it is basic. Do you actually have it in place? If you do, big tick for you. But if you don't, I really encourage you to go and set this up. It will take you, let's say, half an hour, and then you don't need to worry about it again. And that just sets you up for success later. Some other things you could have in your administration folder or have a separate folder for them on their own as suggestions could be branding assets. I know I am regularly going and grabbing my logo as an example, and I know it's just in my branding assets folder. I don't even think about it. Staff files, if you do bring staff on, just have a little file with all of their information in it. Business planning, so that's something we'll talk about in one of the later foundations. Have them all in the one spot. If you've been in business for a few years and you're already doing this, you would probably have a folder for each year and it's there and you can look back on it, but also it's then stored away and you only looking at the latest one when you're looking at your business plans regularly. Marketing folder, so anything you're creating for marketing, advertising could all go in there, or anything else that you're regularly looking up. So as you go about your day over the next few weeks, keep an eye out for anything that you often get frustrated looking for or that you're regularly going into, and have them all in the one spot. So you can set up these cloud or digital folders any way you like. The most important thing is obviously once you've created the system and it works for you, then just stick to it. I like to do things in the moment. So if I have just paid an insurance, let's say for the year, I will now go and stick that in the insurance folder and it's done. I never have to think about it again. If I leave it sitting there for a week or two and think I'll get to that or it's on my to-do list, it just keeps moving and moving because it's not important. So doing things in the moment like that is the easiest way I find to stick to this type of process. So day 2 was all about who you are and what you offer. So let's explore this a little bit more. So who you are and what you offer is important because people need to know this information. It's one of the easiest ways to build know, like, and trust factor. You've probably heard that a million times for businesses in training. So know, like, and trust is something that you build with people. And if they don't know who you are, then it's very difficult for them to build that know, like, trust. Also, if they don't know what you offer, and how are they going to buy from you? How are they going to know that you're the person that they should refer people to if they come across someone who's looking for what you do? So those are obviously business basics that you really should have in place. Again, it sounds basic. I know it's back to basic series. It sounds basic, but are you sure that you're maximizing your ability to tell people who you are and what you offer? So today I'm going to pose 3 questions to you, and you can think about these, ponder over them, but also get real with yourself on these and actually go and have a good look from an outsider's point of view, or even get someone that you trust to do this from an outsider's point of view and tell you what they think. So do you present a clear voice, brand, and your values to your audience? On first glance, as people are looking at what you're doing online, where they find you. So does your audience know your vision for your business and what you stand for in your business, why you're doing what you're doing, what makes you unique? Those are all parts of the vision and why you're doing what you're doing and what you stand for. So is that obvious to people when they start looking at your website, your socials, etc.? And are you confident in the price of your products and services and selling them? So this is an important one. These are obviously very deep topics, so I haven't gone into these in depth in this, but these are just things I want you to ponder over and get real with yourself on. So that third one was, are you confident in the price of your products and services? Do you feel like you are value for money? Do you feel like you are overpriced and therefore it's a bit out of alignment for you to feel confident selling them? Are you underpriced and feel like you really should be charging more, but you're not sure how to, and that doesn't make you feel good when people are paying for your products and you're thinking, wow, you're getting a really good deal, and it's just not sitting well with you? So those are all things to ponder and question, because they really affect how you show up and how often you are telling people about who you are and what you offer. If you don't have those things in place, or you don't understand those things quite yet about your business. So what do you think? Do you have any of the basics in place around who you are and what you offer? So the action step for this is to get clearer on who you are. So if you haven't already done this, or if you haven't looked at, we're going to look at your bios. So if you haven't done this recently, or if you don't have any of these in place, this is a prompt to just take a small action step and actually start to look at this. So I say that people generally have mainly three different types of bios. You may have more, you may have less, but generally there is a short bio. So that's like a snapshot, one or two punchy sentences. Someone says, what do you do? Who are you? And this is what you would say. Then you've probably got, or you should have a medium bio. This is 100 or so words used. So for example, if anyone comes and guests on the podcast, I say, can you send me a bio over 100 or so words? So not too long, but a good snapshot of who you are and what you do. You might also be asked for that 100 words or so when you're presenting something on your social media profiles like LinkedIn, or introductory posts. If you join a Facebook group and they say, introduce yourself, what's your 100 or so words that you use? So that's like a medium-sized bio. And then you should probably have a long bio as well. So this is 200 plus words, used on things like your about pages, larger introductions, etc. So something a bit longer. Or when you're presenting, you might use that as how you present to people what you do. Okay, so what I've suggested in this action step is just to collate those three types of bios together. If you've got three, if you've got two, just start with two. Print them out or copy and paste them into one document, and then review them with a critical eye, or again, get someone else to do this for you. So have a read over them. First of all, do they use the same or similar voice? Does it sound like you all the way through? Or does it sound a bit disjointed when you go from the short snapshot to the medium to the long bio? Are they clear and direct about who you are, what you do, and who you help? So is it talking about your audience and who you actually help, how you can help them? Are they a bit fuzzy or wishy-washy or confusing? I heard something today in a podcast by Tina Tarrant was talking about clear over clever. So are you clear and succinct about these things, or have you tried to be a little bit clever and you're losing the essence of what you're trying to say? So look at it from fresh eyes and just think about those things. Can you also see some of your important values coming through in any of them? Obviously, in a snapshot in a couple of sentences, your values may not necessarily come through, but they can start to come through when you're looking at your medium bio and your long bio, starting to tell people what you're all about and what's important values, because people can often see themselves in you as well. And so if you've got shared values, then that sometimes helps to build that like no trust factor in the beginning when people are starting to get to know you. So if you see any gaps, the last step here is obviously to take a few minutes and rework them and see if you can change them to better reflect who you are and what you offer, so it's very clear to your audience when they first come across you and start to hear about, read about, or see what it is that you do and who you are. So that's it. That's the small simple action steps that you can take to really start to work on that business basics foundation of who you are and what you do. And again, does it sound basic just to sit down and do that? Well, it is. But the key is to take action. You might not get it right the first, the fifth, or the 10th time. Reworking these things and getting closer to your clear message and better customer attraction through this and that like no trust factor, it's just a constantly ever evolving thing. So you're not going to create it and then that is the best bio for you to tell people who you are and what you do for the next 20 years. It's constantly reworking and getting closer and clearer messaging, but it's important that you work on these basics and keep them in line with you and how you sell yourself, because that's often the first experience that someone has of you. So what could you do to work on the basics with the other two questions I posed for you? So that was, does your audience know your vision and what you stand for? And are you confident in your pricing? Is there anything that you could look at to maybe streamline or review those things for your business? You can also check out the Money in, Money Out mini course that I have, and that helps you a little bit around pricing. It doesn't help you so much around your vision and what you stand for. But that's it. Well done. This is, the second basic already. We're on to the day 3 basic now. Hopefully you've started to get some ideas on how you can build on these basics in your business. Okay, so day 3, we talked about, do people know about you? So this obviously following on from the last. So Do people know who you are and what you offer? And do they know about you? What are you doing to actually put that out there? And is it obvious when people come to whatever it is they first come to you with, whether that's your website, your social media, if you're on stage presenting, etc.? That's what this basic is for. So anyone who comes into contact with you and your business should get that important information about what you do straight away. It should be obvious, but it also doesn't stop there. So you need to keep showing people. You need to keep reminding them. You need to keep giving them those opportunities to work with you and buy from you. So what do you think? Do you have those basics in place? Well, let's find out today in this action step by doing a mini audit. So this tip is really just about looking at what you've got in place. And again, doing this from fresh eyes. So again, I could suggest that you may have someone else do this for you that you trust. But I would write down old school on a piece of paper with a pen, write down all the different places that people can come across you. So that's things like Facebook, Instagram, your website, your email list, TikTok if you use it, LinkedIn if you use it, etc. So then audit each of these as if you were a customer or looking at it for the first time. By looking at this, is it clear? Can people know what you do, what you offer, how to work with you? Is that clear straight up from the beginning? So you're going to have a look at your profile, your about page, intros, and probably also the last 5 to 10 posts you've done, if it's on social media, or the emails you've sent, or the blogs you've written, or the podcast episode you released. Is it obvious what you do, what you offer, how people can work with you? How often are you actually presenting opportunities for people to buy what you're offering versus your free content? So are you putting out lots and lots and lots and lots of free content and then occasionally you're telling people how to buy from you? Are you selling every single time and not offering any sort of service or free content around that? Is it just all sell, sell, sell? So there's obviously a bit of a balance there as well. Are you making it easy for your customers? So write down some notes on each of those platforms that you've written above and the questions that I've asked you to have a look at. Is it obvious about what you do, what you offer, how people can work with you? And use those notes to take action. So it's as simple as that. So don't tackle it all at once. If you see something glaringly obvious and any big gaps, that's probably a good place to start, and just try and work on that and refresh that and make that a bit more clear to people, and that you are regularly putting that out there. So yes, again, this was a basic one and it's definitely basic. So these small tweaks you make in your business can actually make a big difference to make it easy for people to buy from you and for them to understand what you have that would help them, whether that's your products or services. Okay, so that is day 3. So moving on to day 4. Day 4 is about systems, processes, and people. So do you feel like at the moment you couldn't possibly hire someone to help you in your business because you don't have any systems in place? You're not sure what you would get them to do, even though you've got 1,000 things you're doing and you know that you're getting to the point where you need to hire someone. Do you still have a block around how am I actually going to do that? And also things like I don't want to waste any money or time. Maybe it's quicker just for me to do it myself. Or I don't want to waste money hiring someone who actually doesn't save me any time and cost me money. So those are all things I know that are tied up around systems, processes, and people. But it is important that you have a look at these basics that will help you get to that point, whether that's now or whether that's in 12 months, 6 months, 8 months, 2 months' time. It's important to have some of these basics in place. They not only help you, but also move you forward to the point where you can have people in your business that help do what it is that you do. So I know it can be intimidating looking at bringing people in. So what do you think? Do you have these basics in place around systems and processes? Let's explore that in a simple action step that you would be able to take to get started on that if you don't. So the first thing I'm going to suggest to you is that you write down a list of tasks that you'd like to delegate to another person. So if you don't know what this is yet, if it's not even been on your radar so far, then I want you to just take a step back and write down everything you do across a typical week. So then just in bullet points, it doesn't have to be down to the minute, but just the typical things that you would do across a week in your business. Then from that list, you can identify which of those tasks could be done by someone else at this point in time in your business. Now, at some point, you're going to want to get to the point where everything in your business could be done by someone else. We'll talk about that in a later business basic. So in this particular section, let's have a list of tasks that you would like to delegate. Let's get to that point. Once you've got that list, identify things that could be written into or recorded as a process for someone else to read or watch and then understand how to do it. So that could be, for example, how you write your email newsletter. So you could sit down and write a written process of all the things you go through to create that, or you may actually record yourself using something like Loom, record yourself doing that process, and someone else can watch as you're doing it, and you can talk them through all the things you want them to know about it. So you can easily do that as a recorded process, as easily as you can a written process, or you can record it and then create a written process from it by using a transcription program that creates words from that and put it into a process. So this becomes your starting point for creating processes that will allow you to train someone else and then delegate some of your tasks. So if you're going to bring someone into your business, having all of those processes that you know you want to delegate in place, that person can then easily be trained because you want them to be able to do things the way you want them done. So that's the easiest way to do that, is to have a process in place. So from here, just try choosing one or two things off that list that you've created that you'd like to create processes for, and then start creating them in the next 7 days. The next time you do it, set up a Loom and record yourself doing it, or write down as you go the steps and then create a process from it. Okay, and that's it. That is the small step you can take today to start on this journey of creating processes in your business. So it might sound easy and basic, and it is, but do you actually have it in place? So the one thing you don't want to do is hire someone into your business, particularly for the very first time, and either not really have work for them to do planned out, or not have a clear way of showing them how to do the tasks you assign them in the way you want them done. So this is really just setting them and you up for failure from day one, not having these things. And if this happens, you're going to be very reticent to hire someone else if that person doesn't work out, or if it's a failure and you've got to start again. Not to mention the time and the money you're wasting doing that, which no woman in running a small business has time to spare or money to waste. So you can successfully hire someone to help you. It just takes some planning before they start, and having some systems and processes in place is part of the planning for that to happen. So if you go through this and take the time to set this up, and particularly if you're someone who is not quite ready to hire someone, but that is in your future, then having these processes done now not only helps you see and work through all the things you do in your business, but it also helps you get prepared for that day. So that when that day comes, or when the time comes and you look at your P&Ls and think, right, I now can afford to bring this person on. I'm now in a position to do that, or now I need to do that because I'm so flat out with business, then it's ready to go. You don't have to think about it. So that is that basic complete. That was number 4. So let's move on to number 5. So number 5 is really in my wheelhouse of what I do, and this is managing your money well. So I love all the business basics. And even though I'm a business financials coach, I have been around business for, let's say coming up to 30 years. I really understand business, and I love talking about all the business basics. But obviously, as a business financials coach, my passion really lies in you managing your money well and making good business decisions so that you're around for a long time. So let's get into managing your money well. The very first thing I say to all business owners is have a separate business bank account. This is a fundamental that is going to make your life so much easier, and it's setting yourself up for the future. So even if you're a sole trader and all of the money that you bring in is your own anyway, you still should have a business bank account. Separate that from your personal bank account. Make your life a whole lot easier. So go get one today if you don't have one, is what I'm saying. So to get to that point, it might again sound overwhelming to just go and set up a business bank account and start moving all of your business stuff in there. Just make a list of the things that you'd need to do to make that happen. If you have heard of Profit First, or if you're following that, the concept is all around buckets of money for different things and splitting up what you earn when the money comes in. You may also want to have a second business bank account that is for taxes, and if you're registered for it, GST. And that is where you would park the savings that you're putting aside for your tax and your GST. When those bills come in, that's already covered off. I'm suggesting as a minimum a business bank account for money coming in and money going out, but potentially also a second one is a good idea as well. So just make a list of all the direct debits across, let's say, a 2-month period that are coming out of the current account you're using that are related to your business that you would want to move over to a business account when you set one up. Make a list of the clients that you would need to email and say, I have a new business bank account and this is what it is. Whatever system you're using to invoice your clients, you need to go in there and update that and make sure your new bank details are on that. And also put a note on the next few invoices, big stars, highlighting however you can do that on your invoicing system, to say new business bank account so that people are doing that. There is going to be a transition. Some people will have it set up automatically and they won't remember to go and update that. So that's okay. Obviously, there's that transition period where money may still go into your other account and you just transfer it across into your business bank account from there as soon as it arrives. But you really do want to move towards this. So the thing about, I guess, managing your money well, so that's step one, I'm going to say, is really fundamental to get in place. The other things to consider about managing your money well as basics would be having accounting software. Now, I only use Xero as a bookkeeper. I only work with clients who use Xero because I just don't want to deal with any of the other systems or accounting systems that are out there. I also love Xero, so I would suggest it to any small business owner. But if you're not using any software that has some excellent reporting capabilities, etc., then I would say consider swapping over and getting something in place, because you might balk at having to pay for software. I know there's some free ones out there that do a good job. They don't have the capabilities of something like a Xero. We'll talk about this in one of the upcoming fundamentals, but you really want to be thinking about your business for the future. Make decisions about the future, not about the now. And so having software in place, like an accounting software, is one of those crucial decisions that will help you in the future and is better to have in place now. The other thing I'm going to mention as under managing your money well as a basic is really about knowing your finances. So if you follow me at all, you would know that I have a mini course called Money In, Money Out. And that is about teaching you the fundamentals of managing the money coming into your business and the money going out, which is the basics of running a business. Money comes in, money goes out. And as long as there's more money coming in than going out, then you're in a profit and you've got a reasonable basis as a business. So if you're not across your financials, then jump over into the Money In, Money Out course. It's a very reasonable price. But also, if you want to jump in after listening to this podcast, then you can use the discount code MIMO15. So that's MIMO for Money In, Money Out. MIMO, the number's 1515, and that'll give you 15% off the price. Just pop that into the discount code section in the checkout. So knowing your financials is crucial basic for you. It's not a goal to do one day. This is a crucial basic for you to have a well-managed business. And the other part of that, which is a bit more complex but is equally important, is knowing what's coming up. So this is about managing cash flow. Cash flow is one of the biggest problems and hurdles I see for business owners in general and women in business, is managing cash flow, knowing what's coming up so that you don't get into situations where you can't pay bills because you're still waiting for money to come in to pay for things that you need to pay for that are going out, your expenses, that are important parts of your business. Managing your cash flow. I also touch on this in the MIMO course, but it is also a course that I want to create in the future as well as a standalone course, because I know it is a huge thing for business owners to manage cash flow. So that is something else I would say to really get your head around. There's a great little resource in the MIMO course, in the Money In, Money Out course. There's a spreadsheet in there that you can get access to that helps you map out cash flow. And also in accounting software like Xero, they have cash flow management in there as well. So they're all of the basics for you to start managing your money well. So if you're not doing any of those things, if you don't have a business bank account, not using accounting software, not really feeling confident managing your financials or managing your cash flow, then this is definitely the section for you, and consider jumping into the Money In, Money Out course. Okay, so let's move on to day 6. Day 6 is about longevity and sustainability. Now, the next two basics, day 6 and day 7, are really more about the future, but they are important basics and fundamentals because we should be in business thinking about the future, and the things we do now absolutely affect our future. Do you want to be around for a long time? Whether that is being around for a long time to build up your business and then sell it, or whether this is just what you want to do for the rest of your working life, or whether you just want to make sure that you are bringing in money to do the things that you want to do in your life. Whatever your business is here for, I'm sure you're not doing it so that you're hoping to make it to the end of the year. So I'm suggesting that you likely are doing this because you want your business to be around for a long time and to not be one of those statistics that, 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 businesses don't make it past year 1. So the things to consider around this back to basics fundamental for your business would be around consistency. So I'm going to say that being consistent and continuing to show up in your business, continuing to do the things that you need to do to move forward, that's half the battle of being around for a long time. Making decisions based on your future business. So what do you want your future business to be doing? And making decisions on a daily basis that consider that future and not just what's happening today and what you need to do to get through today. Staying financial, obviously coming back to day 5, which was managing your money well, staying financial is obviously crucial to being around for a long time. If you're constantly losing money, that is not going to last for very long. So staying financial and being across cash flow in particular is important as part of longevity and sustainability. And also having a diverse way of bringing money into your business. That is part of creating longevity. We'll talk about that in a minute. And also I'm going to mention protecting yourself and your energy. So if you are burning yourself out and you're not planning for the future, perhaps that might include bringing new people on or streamlining your business so that you can manage everything yourself if that's how you're wanting to be in business, just with yourself. That may mean picking and choosing clients that you want to work with who don't drain your energy or don't drain your finances by not paying their bills. It might be protecting yourself and your energy from burnout by limiting your hours or making sure you're focusing on the things that are important and not having shiny object syndrome all the time and going off on tangents, really streamlining and bringing back your business to basics of this is what I do and this is all I'm going to do to protect your energy and yourself from burnout. So self-care, that is definitely a part of longevity and sustainability. So they're the things I would suggest that you should have in place as the back to basics for longevity and sustainability. So what small action step can we take today that helps us have these basics in place for longevity and sustainability? So the thing I'm going to suggest to you is back to the one I talked about in terms of diversifying. Did you know that successful entrepreneurs and business owners, on average, have 8 to 10 different streams of income or ways of money to come into their business? What I want to do for you, or what I want you to do for yourself, is in this small action step for longevity and sustainability, just list out how many different streams of income or ways money can come into your business. So as an example, that might be selling a book, if you've written a book, selling a small mini course, selling a larger course or a signature course, selling coaching, doing a service. For example, like me, I'm also a bookkeeper, so I have bookkeeping clients. It might be running retreats. It might be you might have investments in your business. It might be products you sell. It might be some training you do on the side or consulting. There's lots of different ways that money could come into your business, and having that diversity allows you to have longevity and sustainability in your business. So not just relying on one type of income, but having lots of different ways that money can come into your business. So that's all I'm going to suggest for longevity and sustainability. So the last one is future proofing. So although this is back to basics series, I believe that future proofing should be a basic in your business. It sort of follows on from longevity and sustainability, but what it's talking about is really having some basics in place that work on your end goal, help you make decisions based on your future business and where you want your business to be and to go. could be, for example, to retire at 50. It could be to sell your business in 5 years and then travel the world with the money you make. It could be to work until your kids are out of school. It could be to pass on your business and have generational wealth. It could be building up a business that you have your kids take over. Whatever, those end goals are, those are the types of things I'm talking about. You want to future-proof your business so that you can move towards those goals. Part of future-proofing your business as well is getting to a point where it's self-managing. Now, this is not for everyone, because if your goal is to just be you in your business, that you never want to hire staff and you just want to keep at a level where you are doing what you love, you're bringing in revenue and you're happy with your profits, but it's just you, then this step is not for you. But what I want to really talk about as well is getting your business to the point where it's self-managing. So this is about having systems and processes in place. And this is about having, if you've got a team, that those team members successfully implement those systems and processes so you can step away at any time and the business keeps ticking over. So if your goal is to sell your business, or if your goal is to get to a certain income level, generational wealth, and pass it on, then self-managing should be a goal for you. It should be part of your future-proofing plan. In those types of businesses, being able to step away at any time and things keep going is an amazing place to get to, so that you have such good systems and processes in place that you know that if you went on a holiday, if you had to take time off because you're sick, if you wanted to just take a break because you're burnt out, things will keep ticking over. So that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about getting to a point of it being self-managed. So what other things can we look at for future proofing? So future proofing is doing things like having measurement tools in place, having business plans, goals, and a budget or a forecast in place. And in the future, or even now, hiring staff or just investing in people or things that help save you time and money. So that's all future-proofing your business. So what's a small action step that we could take? I'm going to talk about measurement tools for this one. So what measuring tools do you have in place already? So some small action steps you could take today would be to have a look at a list of 5 things, if you don't already have measurements in place, that you could or should be measuring in your business to tell you how you're tracking to success in your eyes. So this is a very personal thing to your business. So I can't tell you what 5 things you should measure in your business, because I want you to do this based on what you want to track so that you can see and feel successful. Know that you're on track, let's say, to your goals or to your budget if you've put one in place. So it could be, have you achieved your budget for the week or the month? It could be, how many products did you sell for the week? What's your revenue for the week? What's your profit for the month? How many website sales you've had versus social media? Those sorts of things. So all I would say about having a measurement tool is make sure it's things that you actually want to measure and that are things that will give you a sense of success when you hit them, or something to aim for the following month if you haven't quite met what you wanted to meet. And how can you change things slightly to get there next month or next week or whatever that may be. So something like a spreadsheet is a really simple way of doing this, but you could also really just print something on a wall and a big sticky note and then just write, your 5 things down the side and just write a number in there if you're measuring it, let's say, each week. So just that fact of measuring things is a good thing to be. And now, obviously, if you're a larger business or if you've got staff in place, then doing this in a bit more formal process is a good idea. But if you're just starting out with measurement tools and putting things in place for your future business and to see how you're moving forward, then just start simple. Just do something to get something in place that tells you each week or each month how you're doing. And it also gives you something to celebrate. I'm all about celebration and rewarding yourself and making sure that you feel that success in achieving things in your business. Definite to keep you going, keep you motivated and inspired that you're actually doing what you want to be doing in your business and achieving what you want to be achieving. So definitely a measurement tool is a great place to start if you've not got any basics in place around thinking about future-proofing your business. So that's it. I hope that those 7 basics have been of use to you. Now, I don't want you to think you need to run out and do all of them. maybe pick a couple of things that stand out to you that are important. You can definitely go onto the Blossoming Business Facebook or Instagram pages and get another rundown of all of these, or just grab the show notes and have a look in there. Send me a message and let me know. Leave a review if you can and let me know, or go onto social media and leave some comments on the posts. If you do any of these steps or take the small action steps, I'd love to hear about it. But moving on, we next week have a fantastic guest on the podcast, and that is interview 2 of the Everyday Business Heroes series. So I'm excited to bring that to you next week. That's episode 33. So until then, bye for now. Have a great week. This episode was brought to you by my mini course, Money In, Money Out. Head over to the website, blossomingbusiness.com.au, for this episode's show notes under podcasts. And if you're ready to stop flying blind and tackle those finances, then sign up and get started on the Money In, Money Out course. So for still being here and being a podcast listener, you can use the discount code MIMO15 and get 15% off the course. So that's MIMO, number 1 and number 5, MIMO15. So you've been listening to the Her Money, Her Business podcast with me, Sonia Belzarolo. If you've enjoyed this episode, please also head over to iTunes and leave us a review. It really does help to get the podcast out to more people, and I love hearing your feedback. So thanks for listening. Here's to knowing your finances and growing your business, because it's your money and your business.